As an investor, you need to understand where your money is going, understand the cash flow and where things end up. You know what I'm saying? Because if you look at certain opportunities and they seem too good to be true, chances are these are opportunities that will land you in bankruptcy.
This millionaire cheated a local government out of tens of millions of pounds, buying himself a yacht and a private jet. This is Liam Kavanagh. He owned a solar farm business and got Thurrock Council in Essex to invest over £650 million. So why was a local Conservative-led council investing in solar farms? The idea was they'd get regular payments from the profits made by the solar farms. And they thought the cash would be safe. They'd agreed that if anything went wrong, the cash would be secured against the value of the solar farms. So, for instance, they could demand for them to be sold. But our investigation found that the farms were valued higher than they were really worth, to persuade the council to invest more cash than they had already. That cash did not go to the solar farms. Instead, leaked documents from the company showed the money went on things like a private jet, a luxury car, and a yacht.
Yeah, about that. So Kavanaugh and his lawyers have already publicly said that these purchases were legal and that the council should have done their own due diligence. Ouch. So yeah, they're now effectively bankrupt and they're expected to raise taxes because of it. Man, what a world we live in, huh? Politicians botching the people's money and the people have to still pay for it. And that guy bought a plane, right? Any chances he's in the market for another one? Because First Republic, you guys remember that bank that failed, right? Well, they're selling their corporate jet. I guess the FDIC is trying to sell off these assets that the bank previously owned because it's part of seized assets that they've had over the years. I mean, like, you gotta ask, why do they need a private jet? Well, they had business deals to do in all parts of the globe, as it looks like, but I don't think that they can explain why they have to have a 17th century castle door or a wig shop with 705 men's hairpieces. I wish I was kidding here, but those are assets that the FDIC got from them. Now, if you find that weird, there's something else that's even weirder than that. Well, what's weirder than that? Well, you haven't dropped a like yet, but don't worry, you can do it right now. And of course, make sure that you're also subscribed to the channel, all right? All right, thanks for that, appreciate it. But moving on. So another company that's falling right now, News Corporation, just reported a 75% fall in profits. Crazy, right? But don't worry, they're actually optimistic about it. Well, because of artificial intelligence, of course. But get this, they're using AI, something like ChatGPT, to produce 3,000 local Australian news stories a week. A week! How many people makes up this staff that produces this much content? Well, 4 people. Isn't that nuts?
Australian media company News Corp Australia is reportedly producing 3,000 articles a week using generative AI as the media industry explores ways to harness AI tech to boost their businesses. While speaking at the World News Media Congress in Taipei, Michael Miller, executive chairman of News Corp Australia, told attendees that a 4-member team on their staff is using generative AI to produce thousands of stories a week on local issues like fuel prices, traffic conditions, and weather, among others.
Well, great news, folks. Journalists are going to be part of the sweeping layoffs because of this. I mean, seriously? I guess they want to take out the human aspect of telling a story and instead just want to focus on their profits. I can see that this is obviously the point of all of this. Which brings me to Jane Friedman. And you might be saying, hey Ron, who the heck is Jane Friedman? Well, she's a writer who has authored multiple books and is also another victim of artificial intelligence. You see, there are books that are being sold on Amazon right now with her name on it. The title is very similar to the genre that she writes for, but the text, well, the text reads as if someone else wrote it. Someone a little bit robotic that just tried to mimic her style. You guys know what I'm saying, right? Because you see, AI can be trained, and that's the scary part of all of this. It can be trained to learn how someone writes. And ultimately, they may take these jobs for good. Some lawmakers are also talking about creating legislation to protect writers, and if anyone's training AI to write like, I don't know, like maybe Stephen King, well, then they're gonna have to pay him for that. And well, this just shows how far tech has gone, right? But has technology really caught up with what's really important? So let's just say with transportation, is tech now cutting edge? Not if you ask the guy who bought an EV worth $85,000 because he wanted to have a car that's environmentally friendly because, well, that's the trend nowadays. Right? If you want to be hip, get an EV. But after buying it, he had to buy chargers, one for work and another one for his house. This added 10 grand to his bill. Add another $6,000 because you need to upgrade your home's electrical panel, right? But nothing's too expensive to save Mother Earth, unless of course you get into another fender bender wherein he didn't get his car back after 6 flipping months. He said that Ford was so accommodating that they answered none of his emails or phone calls for help. Man, that's good service, isn't it? But don't worry, he's bound to make the money back because he's going to be saving so much money on gas. gas, right? I mean, that's the entire selling point of going electric, right? And you're gonna be saving the planet and your wallet. But when he went on a trip to Chicago, he saw just how bad it was because he was spending more money compared to if he used an old classic gas guzzling car. Not only were charging stations far and few in between, but there was a lot of them that didn't even work. More commonly seen in the free chargers because why the heck not, right? So what happened? Well, they had to have the truck towed and had to rent a gas powered car at the end of the day. Isn't that ironic? So he says that people had to learn from his mistake because this is one of the poorest investments that one person could ever make. So here's a question. If you were asked to drive your very first car as if it was brand new or get an electric vehicle for free, which option would you take? And since I said the magic word, which is free, let's talk about student loans, all right? So there's some pretty dire news out there as a survey showed that 45% of borrowers are already admitting that once the payments restart, they're already expecting to fall behind. Wow, that ain't a good figure. Now, what's worse is that 37% of them didn't even bother to set aside a single dollar for it. Now you gotta realize, folks, payments have been paused for like, 3 years now? They froze it back in March 2020? Yeah, that's right. And I'm kind of sure that a lot of these people that say that they couldn't set aside one single buck for repayments were all in when government announced forgiveness of their student loan debt.
Well, many student loan borrowers right now, they're scrambling to prepare for repayments to start again after the Supreme Court struck down the Biden administration's plan to forgive about $430 billion in student debt.
Now, in response to the decision, the White House has announced a more affordable income-driven repayment plan called the Saving on a Valuable Education Plan. CNBC senior personal finance correspondent Sharon Epperson joins us now to break down what this means exactly. Sharon, good to see you. First off, we know that student loan payments, they've been paused since early 2020. So when will borrowers have to start paying again? And can they expect any relief from this administration's plan?
Well, they're going to have to start repaying in October, and they will also have interest start to accrue starting September 1st. So, yes, there is this new repayment plan that people need to know about. It's a new type of income-driven repayment plan, the SAVE plan. And if you're already in the repay plan, you'll automatically be enrolled in this. But it works like many of the income-driven repayment plans in that you pay based on your income and your family size. In this case, it will eventually reduce the amount that you have to pay from 10% of your disposable income to 5%, which is significant. And the Education Department has also said they're going to provide an on-ramp for people who are really struggling to pay. And if you miss a payment or are late with a payment within the first 12 months, they're not going to hold you accountable and send that to credit reporting agencies. So it will not have a negative impact on your credit. And that's going to be significant for a lot of people who are going to say, I'm not going to be ready come October.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not saying that all of them are just wishing for free money, but like a lot of you guys say in the comments, they got themselves into this debt. It's their responsibility to get them out, right? Like, what if I told you that you would have to pay for someone else's credit card debt and they use that credit card to travel to what? Paris, Japan, Disneyland? You see what I'm trying to say here? Or you would have to pick up the mortgage for someone else while they lived in a house that's got 5 bedrooms bigger than what they needed just because they couldn't plan their finances. That's basically the idea of forgiving student loans because we know for sure the taxpayers are going to have to foot the bill on this one. But what are you guys' thoughts on all of this? Make sure you guys let me know in the comment section down below. I really value your input on this stuff. And before I go, I just want to thank you guys so much for the support. Appreciate you guys. Thanks for dropping the likes for the video. Appreciate all my new subscribers, and I'm gonna see you on the next one.